Hello, welcome to the Canadian Slovenian Chamber of Commerce Reconnection 2021-2022, our annual general meeting. I'm Sonia Rosenworth, the Executive Director for the Chamber, and I'm honored today to have His Excellency, Ambassador for the Republic of Slovenia in Ottawa, Andrej Rody, join us to open our meeting. We're pleased to have Mr. John Doma, Honorary General Consul for Canada and Treasurer for the European Union Chamber of Commerce, and Dr. Margaret Rudolph, Honorary Consul for Slovenia for BC, who are both also serving on our board. And a special welcome to Mr. Marjan Kolarič, member of the Council representing Canadian Slovenians at the Government of the Republic of Slovenia. We relaunched the Canadian Slovenian Chamber of Commerce this past year with a renewed intent to connect Slovenian associated businesses and professionals in Canada, Slovenia, and abroad. Together, we've reconnected through our membership, expanded our network, and become recognized as an integral part of the global Slovenian business community. So we've done very well this past year to have our presence known in spite of the challenges that the pandemic presented us with. Zoom was actually a big help to enable us to network with many organizations that would ordinarily be almost impossible to connect with. For instance, in addition to being connected extensively in Canada, outside of Ontario and in Slovenia, we're now connected with Slobraz and SGBN, the Slovenian Global Business Network out of Brazil. We're very happy to be associated with our associates there. And we've actually collaborated on a presentation just this month. These connections have been very gratifying because it has provided us with a broader view of our Slovenian heritage and also provided additional opportunities for us to grow and also to inspire future generations. Let me just share our agenda. So today we'll have our honored guest, as I said, Ambassador Andrej Rody, open up, and then we will have an introduction to our directors, followed by the President's report, Vice President's report. I'll do the financial report, and then we'll take an in-depth view of the Canadian Slovenian Chamber of Commerce, the State of the Union, the Relaunch Plan, 2021, what we've accomplished, and 2022, what we've yet to do. We're also going to have a presentation from Dr. Margaret Rudolph on Slovenians across Canada, in particular BC, and then Board of Directors wrap-up report by Bill Kochang, our Vice President, and of course, an open forum at the end. So now I'd like to present our honored guest, His Excellency Andrej Rody, Ambassador at the Embassy of the Republic of Slovenia in Ottawa.
Sonia, thank you. And can you hear me? Yeah, it's
yes,
okay.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, okay,
yes.
Thank you. Just in case. Well, dear directors, members, and supporters of the Canadian Slovenian Chamber of Commerce, it is an honor for me to be able to participate at the annual general meeting of the organization that has been one of the core pillars of Slovenian presence and the economic community in Canada for over 30 years. At its beginnings in the 1990s, the Canadian Slovenian Chamber of Commerce brought together the Canadian Slovenian businesses in Ontario and provided a platform to support the Slovenian community. During his first revival in mid-2010, the organization expanded across the ocean through gaining additional members, source of funding, and conducting operational activities on location in Slovenia, and becoming the most visible and influential Canadian NGO in the country. And during its most current revival at the end of the pandemic, The Canadian Slovenian Chamber of Commerce, while maintaining its local and international operations, goes even a step further, expanding its activities across Canada to the West Coast, thus becoming a truly all-Canadian organization. And I'm very happy of that. This wouldn't be possible without the dedicated work, sacrifice, and perseverance of individuals who are making sure the chamber is being kept alive and growing. First, I would like to thank the Slovenian Honorary Consul General in Ontario, John Doma, who has been the driving force behind the chamber for the past decade, generously donating his own hard-earning funds, time, work, and expertise to make sure the organization is being kept alive and growing. The crucial part in its late expansion to the West is being performed by the Slovenian Consul General in British Columbia, Margaret Rudolph. We were with Margaret last weekend, I will say. We were there in Vancouver, and I'm really thankful to Margaret for all that she do and she will do in the future, who has recently organized a series of successful events and presentations of Slovenian economy to the business community of Western Canada. The Chamber's mission wouldn't be accomplished without the ongoing hard work by professionals who make sure all the activities are being organized, and in addition to this, taking care of a large amount of administration work necessary to keep the organization going, such as the current executive director, Sonia Rosenwirth. Thank you, Sonia, for that. I would also like to thank all the members. Also, you know, I would like to thank Simon Privat, who is now in our side, I will say, but it's also working in your side. You know, he's part of the embassy, but he's doing a very hard job on both sides, I would say. It's not ours or yours, but it's ours, I would say. I would also like to thank all the members of the board of directors, volunteers, and other supporters who are contributing what they can to help the organization succeed and improve. Thank you to the Canadian Slovenian Chamber of Commerce for creating opportunities to even better connect our beautiful countries dedicated to human rights, mutual respect, and free trade. As the representative of the Republic of Slovenia, I wish the Chamber a successful AGM and growth and expansion in the following years. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Rody, for those very inspiring words. The Canadian Slovenian Chamber of Commerce is governed by a board of 9 directors. And we've invited them to say a few words today. So each of them will have a little bit of a spotlight, just so that we can get better acquainted. And although Mr. John Doma we'll hear from him in his presidential address, we'd like to hear a little bit about you personally. So, okay. Mr. John Doma, let me just introduce you first. So he's the owner and managing partner at Bateman McKay CPAs and Business Advisors. He's got more than 30 years of public accounting experience. He is the Honorary Consul General for the Republic of Slovenia in Canada. And in 2021, he was director of the board and then became treasurer for the UCAN, which is the European Union Chamber of Commerce in Canada. He's the president and benefactor for the Canadian Slovenian Chamber of Commerce, co-founder and director of the Canadian Slovenian Scholarship Foundation. And his accolades go on and on with his outstanding volunteerism and support of all of his Slovenian community, as well as his local Burlington community as well. So now, John, if you could say a few words about yourself, I'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Sonia. And thank you, Ambassador Rody, for your kind words about the chamber. I just want to say that, we're very excited getting things going again this year. We had a little bit of an absence during the COVID period. I apologize for my informal and driving in the car because I've got meetings, got a huge deadline going on right now in our year end for corporate entities. But look, I'm very excited. We've got a wonderful group of people that have joined us this past year. It's challenging, getting the membership drive, but Slovenia has been a really big supporter of us here in Canada. We know that we've got their ear and they're very much supportive of what we do. Ambassador Rody for sure, and having Simon come to Canada is also a big deal for us because Simon's got experience with us in the previous years, so we're looking forward to it. But anyways, I'll have more to say later. Thank you, Sonia.
Thank you, John. Thank you. We have a busy bunch. You can tell we have a very vital, busy bunch here. So anyway, so let me go to our next director and also vice president of the board, Mr. Bill Kochang. Bill is an architectural design technologist with over 25 years of experience in woodworking industry, from manufacturing to machinery sales and everything in between. He grew up on the shop floor, moving into the management side, and has given Bill the perspective needed to see all sides of challenges that are involved in operating manufacturing business. As a member of popular Slovenian bands, Zvoki Slovenia, Petovio, and Planinski Quintet, he traveled to Slovenia and associations across North America. He's also on Toronto Chin, the Slovenian radio program that still is running today, and he was on it for 20 years. And he was past president of the Slovenian Hunters and Anglers Club. So Bill, could you tell us a little bit about your Slovenian background and how it's influenced your commitment to preserve and promote our community?
Well, I grew up in the Slovenian community almost from birth. So I've been attending functions and helping my parents, who are very active in the community. And I am trying to pass that on to my children and hopefully their children onto that. So what my goal is to foster a better connection between generations, which I've seen we're starting to lose. But the goal is to help out the younger people with whatever connections we have at our level, and even promote cross country between Slovenia and Canadian youth so that they can start doing business together rather than just us old people that are ready for retirement. But then I'll go into more detail what we're doing later in my report.
Yeah, thank you. And you've also been involved in projects with Slovenian companies that are wishing to come across to Canada. So is there anything that you see as being the biggest hurdles that you've seen that they've had to overcome?
Regulations, Canadian regulations. We have our own set of regulations that differ from the US, so it's very difficult for companies to just gauge their products to just such a small standard that we have. So I find it every day in our business that when we bring over machines, we do differ with regulations with CSA compared to ULC, and some people just don't want to deal with it. So I'm trying to help those companies realize what those regulations are and how we can get around them.
Yeah, thank you. I think that illustrates why it's so important to have a connection and a warm introduction to people like yourself and other people in similar industries to what they want to enter in across the pond with. Yeah, thank you. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we go?
Not right now. No, I'll
Okay,
get more
thank you.
later.
Thank you. Yeah, the next, I'd like to introduce Mr. Boris Ulchar. He has a background in IT and finance. Mr. Boris Ulchar has consulted in almost every business sector from banking, insurance, manufacturing to engineering. His database design skills and information gathering expertise have kept him in demand. And Boris has had the opportunity to consult with startups and kickstart their operations. In the past few years, he's honed his skill in web development and digital marketing. Many businesses have benefited by getting increased exposure in the marketplace. When not working, you see him at Slovenian events with a camera in hand, and we're very fortunate to have you on board and actually act as our roving photographer. Can I get you to introduce yourself and tell people about your Slovenian background?
I know I'm in IT, but it's like, what's that saying? The shoemaker's children are always barefoot. Anyways, Slovenian background, I've been one of the few that were actually born in Slovenia. I came here as a little 4-year-old. So, and I've been involved with the community just like Bill has since birth, being, close, living close to the vicinity of the church, etc. So my business background, I was self-employed for the longest time, but now I more as a professional with the Ontario government. So anyways, plus I'm on the board of directors of a few other Slovenian organizations, like the Slovenian Summer Camp, right? And also this one. Okay, want to ask me another question?
Yeah, if you could maybe share in your sector, some of the challenges and opportunities that you see for a Slovenian business coming to Canada. Is there maybe a couple of things that they can keep in mind when they come over here?
Just like Bill said, regulations, especially with the minister I'm with, we're regulated to the hilt. I'm with more Ministry of Labor, so it's there's a lot of regulations, like especially in the manufacturing sector. Well, all the sectors, right, with regards to health and safety and also employment standards, vacation pay, being a fair working environment, etc. on there. So anybody that's going to do business here, I guess like I said, the place where I'm really involved with is more when the companies are established here and, they start getting employees, etc. And if they're going to manufacture here, again, there'll be certain health and safety standards to adhere to.
So beyond getting information, on the internet, who is the best professional that they should contact to be sure that they're following the correct protocols?
Okay, the Minister of Labor,
etc.
They started actually in the last 10 years having with the ministry a citizenship department. So professionals trying to come here and establish themselves, they'll be one of the first places they can come in contact with, and they'll set them straight with any regulatory items that they might need, depending on what they're trying to do. As for import and that's probably another sector.
Anything else you'd like to say about the Canadian Slovenian Chamber of Commerce and your involvement with the chamber?
Great bunch of people, really progressed through the years since I started on there, especially reaching out. Initially, it was more of, I should say, a good old boys club, but more promote local businesses. Now we're branching out and connecting with companies that wish to come from Slovenia and establish themselves here, either their products and or services. So that's something to look forward to.
Great,
especially
thank
with
you.
Simon coming here, I can see that escalating.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Boris. Thank you for everything. Thank you for your great contributions.
Thank you.
And now I'd like to present Mr. Richard Vitrich. He has an educational background in engineering and management, and he brings over 15 years of technical and management skills, specializing in design, analysis, project management, and financial budgeting. He's currently in the aerospace industry, and he also continues to support and be an active participant in the food industry. He comes from a Slovenian entrepreneurial family in the food industry that has been serving the community for over 35 years. Family meets on Brown's Line, just for a plug. Richard has been involved in the Slovenian community from a young age, participating in the Mladi Glas dance group, Cubs and Scouts, a graduate of Slovenian school, and volunteering for the Slovenian cultural radio show, the Chin channel that also Bill was on. Richard is Canadian born with both Canadian and Slovenian citizenship and is looking forward to his next visit to Slovenia. Richard, please say a few words.
Excellent. Good evening, everybody, and a pleasure to be here. I think Sonia covered off pretty much everything I had jotted down on notes here to share anyway, but born in a very tight-knit Slovenian community, from friendships from elementary school right through Cubs and Scouts and Slovenian school, being at the Browns Line Church, all the different parks, and then my family owning one of these Slovenian butcher shops in the Toronto area just created some of those lifelong connections that I've had with different businesses, different parks, been to all of them and participated in many of their events. And I think one of my things for coming back or coming to the chamber and being a part of the chamber is, as we grew up and went along our professional ways, we started to see kind of what Bill said, the disconnect and, losing the connection between, our Slovenian peers and Slovenian companies and, working hard to keep those connections alive. The chamber, has brought that back where we've been able to reach out to the community, connect with local and also international businesses. Like Boris said, we've grown from, the first or second iterations of the chamber, which were very local to, mildly local to now, expanding out and really connecting across Canada and, really getting a lot of Slovenian companies that are coming looking for advice of, how do they come into the market? What is the Canadian market looking for? I've worked with, Simon and the team on a couple of technical aerospace related companies looking to come over and, continue to look at anything that's technical or food related is, sort of where my passion lies.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Richard. Thank you for helping, and thank you for contributing so much to the projects that we have. Like Richard said, we usually have about 4 or 5 projects going on with different companies, and we reach out to our board members first to share the information that they have, the expertise they have, and then of course to lock into their network. So thank you, Richard. Is there anything else that you'd like to say before I go to the next board director?
No, I think just maybe one last point, kind of what you asked Bill and Boris a little bit is, what are the biggest challenges? I know they've said, regulations, technicalities, but I think one of the biggest hurdles to also get overcome is that first knock on the door is how to create those introductions and, things I've seen myself and just struggling to find even local businesses who, want to take the time to invest and talk to other companies. It takes a lot of work to create those relationships or to at least facilitate the ability for those relationships to take place. Knowing so many people in my industry, I've run into the wall so many times where people are just too busy in their everyday to really entertain it. So that's kind of where we can step in and really work, our connections to facilitate those relationships. I'll leave it there, Sonia. And thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much. Yes, those warm introductions are something that we pride ourselves on. Now, our next director, Mr. Jason Gurel, is not going to be here with us, but I have recorded his responses, etc. Mr. Gurel has held senior finance positions in the real estate sector. He's currently the Chief Financial Officer of Cavalon Technologies Limited in Toronto and was previously Senior Director of Finance for Smart Centres, Financial Officer and Treasurer for Toronto Community Housing Corporation, and which is Canada's largest landlord. Mr. Jason Gurel is Canadian-born with both Canadian and Slovenian citizenship and has contributed to the Slovenian community in many capacities. He serves on the board of directors of Moya Financial Credit Union and is the chair of the Governance and Human Resources Committee. Jason also holds a membership in Slovenski Dom, and he's supported Dom Lipa and other Slovenian communities. So let me share the interview that I did with Mr. Gorel. Okay, let me introduce Jason Gorel. I'm very happy to let him meet you, our director on the board. And I'll just have a few questions, Jason, just about your background, etc. So the first question that I'm asking all the directors is, please tell us a bit about your Slovenian background and how this has influenced your commitment to preserve and promote our community.
Thank you, Sonia. And I'd like to send my regrets for not being able to attend the meeting in person. And thank you for facilitating this video. My parents are of Slovenian descent. I happen to be a dual Canadian-Slovenian citizen, so I take great pride in conducting efforts to preserve our culture, our heritage, and our community. Many before us have worked very hard to build very strong institutions in our community. And I'd like to thank John Doma for his leadership and for his time and efforts over the several years in rebuilding the chamber to where it is today.
Thank you. And what would you describe as the biggest hurdle to overcome by businesses that wish to expand out of Slovenia into Canada and North America?
Thank you, Sonia. Over the years, I think what we've seen to some degree are companies with some very good product or service in Slovenia, more so product, and wanting to broaden their sales net to cast over North America, in particular Canada. I think what we've seen over these years are cost prohibitive factors in terms of sales and marketing lead generation and being able to identify sales targets across the ocean. With the advent of social media networks and increased connectivity between people all over the world, I think we're starting to see these cost barriers dissipate, and I think that may very well help Slovenian business do much better in Canada over time when it becomes less costly to invest in getting leads over here. I think that will make a big difference.
The other thing is, why should a Slovenian or Canadian Slovenian business join the Canadian Slovenian Chamber of Commerce? I know this maybe puts you on the spot a little bit, but you know the question that everyone always asks: what's in it for me? And I think we owe it to them to tell them our opinion on this question.
Great question, Sonia. I'll try to be as simple and straightforward as possible. To be connected. I think in this day and age, if you want to be successful in business, you have to be connected. Social media networks play a large part in lead generation across all companies. As an example, I happen to currently work for a medical products company. It used to be the case that in order to sell into hospitals, you had to be in your face in the hospital in terms of being there, meeting with staff directly to make the sale. That's changed a lot as a result of COVID. Hospitals really don't want anybody visiting them anymore. They want low infection rates. And now what we're seeing to maintain sales is to simply connect with hospital staff remotely over the internet, having training videos, interacting with Facebook groups. It's a different world than where it was just 2 or 3 years ago. As a result of these things, I think there are tremendous opportunities for both Slovenian businesses to come to Canada and perhaps for Canadian businesses as well to find their way into Slovenia.
We feel very fortunate to have you on the board, Jason. Jason has had many leadership roles in a few different sectors, and this is something that the board directors share, is the experience, the deep skills that are shareable, are available to people that connect with us through the chamber. So is there anything else that you would like to share with our AGM audience and our Chamber of Commerce audience before we go?
I'll just end Sonia with Lako Noc, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Director. Now, the next director, we're so lucky to have from out west. So Margaret has joined us recently, and we're pleased to have her later on actually do a presentation on BC for us. So Dr. Margaret Rudolph has completed a 30-year career in senior management at the federal government of Canada. Her work experience ranges from advising cabinet ministers on communication change issues to managing complex transformational projects in a number of large organizations. She's a native of Montreal, and Margaret is multilingual and works globally. By combining research with practice, Margaret takes a academic approach in her chosen field. Margaret is a skilled communicator and is fluent in English, French, Spanish, Italian, and Slovenian. In 2016, she was made Honorary Consul for Slovenia to British Columbia and is passionate about her Slovenian and Italian heritage. Margaret, welcome. If you could.
I will. Thank you, Sonia. And I have to ask you for a favor.
Yes.
Please drop the doctor. That's my stage name. I'm Margaret. Okay.
How difficult it is to get that designation. So
anyway, so yeah, I'm born in Montreal and raised in Montreal, went to school at McGill, and essentially, yeah, spent a lot of my time in Ottawa and different offices around the country. My father and mother were very passionate about the language and the culture, and that is technically my first language, Slovenian. And I'm not embarrassed to speak it. I'm not educated in Slovenian, but I speak Bistriško, which is where my mother's from. Italian, we're not really ethnically Italian, we're Slovenian, but my roots are in Trieste, which is a very strong representation of Slovenians. So that is my background. Spent 30 years with the feds in mostly Ottawa, but I had regional offices, Montreal, Moncton, Toronto, and Vancouver. And we came here about 10 years ago, finishing our career in the government. And the community here is very different from Ontario and Montreal in the sense that we don't have a large population of Slovenians in British Columbia. Latest census shows around 5,000 of us. So the challenge is, and I'll go into it in more detail in the PowerPoint, the challenge is to be known and to tell people, yes, Slovenia is not Slovakia, it's Slovenia. And I think we're getting to the point where we're very cool. And I say this in a cavalier fashion because yesterday there was a very good article in The Economist talking about how well Slovenia is doing now economically with the election of Robert Golob. So we're up there. My challenge is to be known and to move from being known to identifying projects and possibilities and to focus on what is doable and achievable. And again, I'll go into more detail with PowerPoint. I'm very pleased to be in this role. I feel really honored to be able to speak my language with the community. My husband, though we're married for a long time, never really picked up Slovenian. So he's very Canadian, he's Vanier. So my community is my source for my culture, and very, very pleased to be able to help out in as much as I can.
Thank you very much, Margaret. We appreciate your contribution to the Chamber and to our community, and we look forward to working together. And we look forward to your presentation later on. So thank you for your time. And now I would like to introduce Simon Privac. Simon Privac, you know what, before I even say any of what is written here, I just want to say thank you. Thank you, thank you. Simon Privac has been so helpful in relaunching the chamber. Without Simon, I don't know if we would be where we are today. So that's what I'd like to say before I even go into Simon's background. His passion and his commitment to our community in Slovenia and in Canada are unsurpassed. And we really appreciate him being part of the chamber. He was previously as he was working as as one of our liaisons in Slovenia, and now he's actually on our board as a director. So we're very happy to continue working with Simon. So Simon now is the Trade Commissioner for the Embassy of the Republic of Slovenia in Ottawa. As a Canadian Slovenian entrepreneur, business networking, and strategic marketing consultant, his projects have transcended many business sectors. Simon held the position of the CSCC Executive Director from late 2014 until early 2017. In the past, Simon has been employed as a marketing, communications, and corporate relations professional at various organizations in the GTA, such as at Ontario Place, TLN Tele Latino TV Network, Diamond Integrated Marketing, as well as Slovenia's branch of Young and Rubicam Communications Group. As a founder and president of the Final Flash Association, Simon and his team developed art and entertainment events, as well as educational projects in Slovenia, UK, Canada, Israel, and South Africa, amongst which included a unique partnership with MTV Networks Europe, with co-promotional TV coverage across 25 countries, supporting an itinerary of events of 3,000 plus international clientele. Welcome, Simon, and please tell us about your Slovenian roots and your involvement with the chamber. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sonia, first for these kind words. And as a matter of fact, we wouldn't be here if Sonia would be here. So thank you very much, everyone, for being here. And it's been a great honor since 2014 to be part of this organization and helping it build it. I've been in Slovenia for the last few years, and I just came back. Now, if we go back to my Slovenian background, I was born in Slovenia, and my family has been between Slovenia and North America for the last few generations. When I was growing up in Slovenia, my grandma was living in Mississauga. And before that, her father moved from Ohio to what is now Slovenia, built mill and a farm, started a family there. And basically every generation, somebody moves one way or the other way. So I guess at some point it was my turn. I didn't even plan for it, but somehow life just happened. So I ended up here. I was helping the Slovenian community I was involved in on the cultural side in Slovenia and in Italy, in Trieste and in Koper, Isola, and Piran, mostly on the theater side. And of course, when I came to Canada, not right away, but a few years after, I found out there is a great Slovenian community here, and I got involved and tried to help as much as possible. So yes, I'm very proud of both of my sides, Canadian and Slovenian, and I'm happy to be back again.
Thank you, Simon. Thank you for your continued contribution. And thank you for being my co-host later on in the program. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
Again, I would just like to thank everyone for being here. I would like to thank John Doma for being the force behind everything. He helped making it happen. All the directors that are really putting in their work, a lot of it, and of course, all of you. And yes, I'm looking forward to continue.
Thank you very much. Okay, I'd like to share. Yes, Mr. Tim Sesnick. Mr. Tim Sesnick is co-founder and CEO of Our Family Office Incorporated, one of Canada's leading wealth advisory firms to affluent families. He has authored 18 best-selling books and is a regular contributor and on-air personality on radio and television. He appears regularly on CTV, CBC News World, BNN, and the best-known money programs in the country. Tim is also a tax and personal finance columnist for the Globe and Mail, publishing a column weekly that we share quite frequently to our members. His grandfather was born and raised in Slovenia and came to Canada in 1929. Tim recently explored his Slovenian heritage in 2012, including a visit with his wife, children, and father to extended family in Slovenia. Tim has also contributed by hosting and being a presenter on one of our business insights not too long ago. So we're very, very happy to have such a distinguished director.
Thanks, Sonia. I apologize for being late, everyone. Yeah, my grandfather was born in Slovenia and came to Canada in 1929, actually. You know, it was about 10 years ago, actually, that I made a trip over to Slovenia with my wife and my 3 children, along with my father and my sisters. And because we really wanted to see the place where my grandfather had been born and where he grew up, just to gain a better appreciation for what life was like for him. He had been back and forth between Canada and Slovenia many times, but I'm embarrassed to say that I hadn't actually been to Slovenia until 2012. It was a pretty meaningful experience for our whole family. We met about 35 relatives who we had never met before in the little village of Dragatush. And we were there for about a week. And what it's done, it's really allowed our family, including my children, to really build a connection between with Slovenia. So ever since that trip, they make a point of sort of watching what's going on with Slovenia. And even during the Olympics, we all had the Slovenian jerseys and shirts and things. So we've really, I guess, tried to rebuild that connection that my grandfather brought back with him from Slovenia. And my hope is that over time that we'll be able to spend more time in Slovenia as a family. Now that we've met the relatives over there, we know who they are and know how to reach out to them and keep in touch with them. It's been great. I felt that I wanted to be more connected to the Slovenian community here in Canada. And so I thought joining the Canadian Slovenian Chamber of Commerce was a good way for me to do that, because I'm in the business community. And it's been wonderful. It's been about a year now, I guess, Sonia, since I joined the board.
Yeah, August, I think.
Yeah, I think it was August. So coming up on a year. Yeah, I've really enjoyed getting to know different members of the community, and just we're continuing to build those ties. So between, you know, and as a family, we'll be going back to Slovenia again, probably sometime pretty soon.
Thank you, Tim, and thank you very much for sharing your expertise and your information, etc. Tim did a wonderful event with us, which you can see on our YouTube channel, and hopefully we'll have maybe another event in future. And thank you very much for sharing your weekly column. Actually, sometimes I don't keep up, but I do publish all of them to our members, and entertaining, informative, and very, very down to earth, which is a nice combination. Anything else you would like to say, Tim, before?
Yeah, I'd just like to say I'm just getting to know the Slovenian business community and getting some of the Canadian Slovenian business owners. I think it's an exciting opportunity for people to build a network, not only me, but for each other to build networks through the chamber. And so, you know, I think to me, it's well worth the cost of membership to be part of the Chamber of Commerce, just to build those ties and hopefully get commerce going back and forth across the borders.
Oh, Margaret has a question for you, Tim.
Sure.
Hello, Tim. You're in the financial reporting world. My question is, if there was any opportunity to connect me with Vancouver-based financial reporters, and maybe excite them about Slovenia. I'm not sure you were online when I mentioned it, but The Economist wrote a glowing report on Slovenia. They published it yesterday. You might take a look, and if you have any leads, contact me and I'll follow up.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'll reach out to you afterwards. We can chat about that. There may be some names I can help provide.
There you go, networking and connections. Thank you very much. Thank you, Tim. And
I would like to
our last director, Mr. Justin Gigante cannot attend tonight. So Justin Gigante is president and founder of Just Aluminum and Glass, a premier aluminum door and window manufacturer and installer. He has 3 sons, all involved in the business, and it's a very impressive factory out in Mississauga. He was born in Slovenia. Justin received most of the mechanical education at Tomos Copper, one of the leading manufacturers of motorbikes and mopeds. After leaving Slovenia at age 19 and a year of living in France, he finally made Canada his home. He worked as a machinist which brought him to different industrial companies, including the de Havilland, I can never pronounce that, Aircraft Company Limited. Mr. Justin Gigante shares his time in both Canada and Slovenia with business ventures in both countries.
I would like to jump in here. Yes, do you hear me? I would like to jump here in and present our executive director, Sonia Rosenworth Stamler. Sonia was with us Sonia has over 25 years of business and project management experience in various leadership roles. Throughout Sonia's career, she had the opportunity to experience many business sectors and roles, resulting in a holistic approach to business opportunities. As the president and co-founder of Advantage Strategic Management, Sonia has led or managed national projects on the telecommunication, CPG, apparel, and healthcare sectors. Throughout Sonia's life, she has always been involved in the Slovenian community at banquets, parks, churches, and recently as vice president of the Slovenian Linen Foundation, Dom Lipa board. Sonia is Canadian born with both Canadian and Slovenian citizenship, and she is in frequent contact with her family in Slovenia, with visits, calls, and in writing. And now we are really happy and really lucky, actually, to have Sonia as our executive director of the Canadian Slovenian Chamber of Commerce. Sonia, can you tell us a few more words?
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Simon. I thought it'd be better than introducing myself completely. Yes, I have an extensive business background, and I'm very happy to be able to use my Jill of all trades experience and skills in this position. And I've been very, very fortunate for John Doma to have reached out to me last year and presented this opportunity to take on this role and to take on the project. And I'm just over the moon, thrilled with what we've accomplished and with the opportunity of what's still yet to come. So what I believe is that the Canadian Slovenian Chamber of Commerce is a beacon for Slovenian business organizations and professionals here in Slovenia, and with recognition of our past and with our plans for the future across in Slovenia, in Canada, Brazil, all over the world. The reasons for Slovenians to connect are the same now as they were in the past. We trust that our common background unites us with shared values and a good work ethic. Networking with like-minded professionals is both strategic and more enjoyable. The Canadian Slovenian Chamber of Commerce's mission is to enable Slovenians in Canada and abroad to connect and to share their business expertise. I look forward to sharing our journey together as we connect through the Canadian Slovenian Chamber of Commerce. So now let me just go to that's my spiel. Now I'd like to go to Mr. John Doma, our president, to give us the president's report. John?
Hey, is everybody there?
I'm gonna have to apologize to everybody here because, you know, again, I'm out and I've got to go to a meeting shortly. First of all, everybody can see the wonderful team that we've got joining us here, and I think there's others that'll be joining us soon and on the board. So from my perspective, the goal is enlarging our community, our business community, our networks, and that is what we seem to be having a lot of success doing. I'm not going to get discouraged today. I think I was hoping a lot more people would chime into the presentation today, but I think that's something that Sonia, who with her expertise and Dr. Margaret Rudolph, you know, the doctor is very hard to get at, but will help in getting this up and more people attending. I know a lot of people talk about the great things we do. I believe they're going to come in and get more involved, and just give it some time, and we're gonna get there. But without further ado, I'm going to get my wonderful team to get out there and provide more information as to what the chamber is up to, and you know, look forward to more people you know, getting connected. There's a lot of great things happening, everybody. So anyways, we'll talk to you soon. Thank you, and we'll see you at the Litovice farm on the weekend. I'll be there if anybody wants to talk further. Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, thank you. So the next on our agenda is the Vice President's report, which will be presented by Bill Kochang, our Vice President. Bill?
Hello, everybody again. What I've been working on over the past year is our LinkedIn account. So we've been connecting with Slovenians in Canada, US, and in Slovenia. Slowly, we're building up a good network. We find positive comments when we did a bunch of reporting on the Olympics. We try to update events that happen in Slovenia. We keep everything business oriented and the occasional sports. But the goal is to get people to start looking at the chamber for Slovenian events and becoming more of a hub, so that we can then branch out and start connecting them more with other companies when we do see the need. On the business aspect, I've sat in on quite a few meetings with Sonia and Simon. And what we do try to do when we discuss with Slovenian companies, we try to temper the expectations. So we don't overpromise and underdeliver. We do tell them the challenges that are here. As much as they think Canada is such a big market, we are the size of California. So, and we're spread out as one of the biggest countries in the world. So it is challenging. And we do hope that our connections do provide value to Slovenian companies. So every day we're working and building connections. So that's all I have for right now. Sonia, back to you.
Bill. Thank you. We do not have a treasurer at the moment. That will be mentioned later on in the Board of Directors report. We are open to have nominations for different positions. So I will take on the financial report, and I'm happy to share this with you. I will not have it on the recording when I edit it, when I share it later on, because this is proprietary information. So let's get to Canadian Slovenian Chamber of Commerce in-depth report. So Simon and I will share this segment together. And let me just start by talking about the relaunch of the Canadian Slovenian Chamber of Commerce. The Canadian Slovenian Chamber of Commerce was very active in 2021 with the relaunch of its board, its structure, website, membership, and events. This was only made possible through the support and financing from Mr. John Doma, who spearheaded the project. After a period of inactivity, the Chamber Board acquired an executive director, myself, and an international business development officer, Simon, to relaunch the organization. The 2021-2022 strategic plan was put in place and initiated in March with the goal of reaching full potential for sustainability by the last quarter of 2022. In summary, the plan required a full review and update of all CSCC elements to ensure the relevancy, potency, and presence of the chamber, so that the mandate to connect Canadian Slovenians, and Slovenian diaspora would be executed most efficiently. The activities that were undertaken have resulted in a renewed interest in the Canadian Slovenian Chamber of Commerce from former and new business associates in Canada, Slovenia, Brazil, and the USA. Over the course of the year, after the chamber's structure and website were updated and the board was reinstated, the membership has grown to 82 businesses, professionals, and organizations, plus many associates from around the globe. Activities and plans for 2021 and 2022 are in stride with the criteria required to obtain funding from Spirit Slovenia, URAT, which is the Office for Slovenians Abroad, and Can Export. Currently, the Chamber's operations have been funded through loans from Mr. Doma, membership fees, and 2 grants, one from URAT, who paid 4,846, and from Spirit Slovenia, pledging 30,248 euros that is to be paid in 2022. The Canadian Slovenian Chamber of Commerce has been connecting with the Canadian Slovenian community across Canada to network inside Ontario, but also across Canada through renewed associations with the Slovenian Embassy in Ottawa, the Honorary Consul in BC, the Honorary Consul in Halifax, and the many Slovenian clubs and associations like the VSKO, Slovenski Dom, and the Slovenian Hunters and Anglers Club. The Chamber established themselves as partners with Slovenian heritage organizations over the past year and has helped them by promoting events through our website and emailing to the Canadian members and associates. The Chamber's membership means more than a network of business and professionals. It's a link with Slovenia and a connection with our shared heritage. We've got many inspiring results and renewed interest from the global Slovenian community. Let me share some details. This is the relaunch plan that we started with. As I touched on, we had a complete overhaul. Everything had to be reviewed and updated. And that was the first bucket that we have there. We looked at the vision and the mission. We relaunched the strategy. The accounting, bank account, payment methods were redone. New accounts, the account was actually reinstated at Moya. PayPal was restarted. Documents, we've got forms now that have been created to better work with the companies that we work with. We have a pre-qualification form where we discover the needs of our companies and also to provide information to partners and to investors here in Canada and Slovenia. We looked at the affiliates. We contacted members in the community, and our website was updated and social media was greatly increased. So the plan to relaunch, this was the execution stage. This is what we've done over the last, I guess, year and a half. It seems like longer. So board engagement, we looked at the vision, mission, and bylaws, which have to be updated. That will be probably our next AGM. We updated the website. We completed an outreach to Slovenian community and affiliates. We had a membership drive that will continue. This will be ongoing, into infinity. But we should encourage each other, and we should encourage other people in our community to be a member. As I said, this is a network of Slovenians, not just a business community. So we've upped the communication, and we've relaunched with events. Unfortunately, this last year we had all virtual events. We only had one in person, so hopefully that will improve now that COVID hopefully will slowly disappear, or hopefully at least get quieter in the background. So we have ongoing, I won't go through all the lists, but there's ongoing, of course, operational admin that's going on. And actually now with the help of Angie, don't be scared by the list. We'll work on this together. It'll continue and get done. Simon, if you'd like to talk about our reconnection here.
Yes, the Canadian-Slovenian Chamber of Commerce spans 2 continents right now, and it operates on a few different levels. One is connecting Slovenian business community in Canada, which was first, as we mentioned before, just the business community in Ontario. And now with Margaret's help, we're actually expanded across the whole Canada, including the Western Canada, and hopefully the Maritimes will follow soon as well. Another part is connecting with the Slovenian business community in Slovenia. We're talking Slovenian companies in Slovenia who are trying to get to Canada, but also Canadian businesses in Slovenia. So we're talking Canadian companies that are not necessarily Slovenian owned and want to go to Canada, which was not much of a case before, but now with CETA agreement, which makes doing business between both countries much easier, we will have more and more of this happening. So this is the strong bond, Canada, cross Canada with Slovenia. And another thing we should not forget about is the Slovenian business community abroad, where the integral part is the Slovenian Global Business Network, run by the Slovenian Chamber of Commerce in Brazil, by Bogdan Šalej. I think he's also with us today. And this way, the Chamber is connecting all the dots together. Also in Canada, the Chamber is working closely with the Embassy of Slovenia in Ottawa. On the other hand, in Slovenia, the Chamber is working closely with the Global Affairs Canada representation for Slovenia in Budapest, the Trade Commission there. So we are basically become not just a local NGO, but truly NGO with international and cross-country reach. So go to the next slide, Sonia. As Sonia said before, we currently have 82 members. 1 is in Brazil. We got 63 in Canada, 17 in Slovenia, and 1 in the United States. In 2021, we published 25 articles on the Porto Izvozno Okno, Slovenia. And for 2022, 10 articles were published at Izvozno Okno, plus a few in other media. Plus, we also had a radio report in the last year, and 15 more are planned. And some of the topics that we have been publishing articles about were how to start a business in Ontario, Canadian business habits, selling wine into Canada, Canadian economic surprises of the past year, 2021. And all of these articles were contributed by our directors. Except 1 or 2 were contributed this year by a PR person who volunteered for us. Samantha, unfortunately, she's not here with us today. We had about 45 business contacts / consultations in 2021, and which means we provided different kind of advice or information to companies either from Canada asking us about Slovenia, or to companies in Slovenia asking us about Canada. So in 2021, this was 45 consultations. In this year, we're already beyond 50 to date. So we can assume we'll most probably get to 80 or maybe even 100 this year. We've also published 42 business opportunities, 21 in last year and 21 in this year, 21 in this year up to date. So maybe publishing more this year. These opportunities were published in Izvozno Okno internet portal. A lot of work for each one of them. So, and we go on. So for the first time in its history, the Canadian Slovenian Chamber of Commerce was active on 4 continents. In person, we had, just in this year, we had representation in Europe, Asia, and North America. For example, Chamber was represented among else also at the World Expo in Dubai on different business meetings and events. And in addition to that, virtually also in South America, to be more correct, Brazil. Thank you to Mr. Bogdan Chalet. Canadian Slovenian Chamber of Commerce also became the most visible and influential Canadian NGO in Slovenia. There are many non-government organizations working in Slovenia, most of them Slovenian, with really good influence, really good connections, well visible. Also other NGOs from the States, from other countries in Europe. But in terms of Canada, Canadian Slovenian Chamber of Commerce is the NGO that's being visible and can pull some strings in the country. Also, another thing that the chamber managed to achieve is to pull some Slovenian wines at the LCBO, not by itself. Big thing was Sonia's connection with the Croatian wine importer, and together they help this whole thing happen. And what you have on the right side is some, Sonia, if you go back, is some examples of the media reporting about Canadian Slovenian Chamber of Commerce in Slovenia. I said before that we have published our articles in Izvozno Okno, but things were written about the chamber in other Slovenian media. For example, we hosted the Canadian Trade Commissioner in Slovenia a few times in Slovenia with different events. Actually, the only event that we had in person where we were also really glad and lucky to have Margaret attending in Koper. And some of these events got media coverage, including, and I want to say this, this is really interesting, on radio news, the main radio news program in the country, the one that's most listened to, that was at the beginning of the war in Ukraine, the unfortunate warring situation. So there were reports about the war, and then they switched to, and now let's go to Canada. And they were talking about the Canadian Slovenian Chamber and our event in Izola, and how the Trade Commissioner visited, and then they went back to war in Ukraine. So after that, I spoke with the main editor of the local radio and television center in Koper, which is equivalent of the regional CBC here. And she said, you know what, you were really positive part. You were a positive thing that was happening that day. So we had to break the whole negativity and the whole sadness with Ukraine, and you were the positive thing that we put in. So I think we can be really proud of what happened there. And thank you to our PR volunteers as well. So please, Sonia, go ahead. Sonia, you're muted. Sonia, you're muted.
I know, I keep doing that. Okay, the stats continue. I won't go through the whole list. We have renewed associations, like I said, with the Slovenian Embassy in Ottawa. As Simon mentioned, the Canadian Embassy in Budapest. We actually did some virtual and hybrid events with the commission, with the, is it commissioner, or I don't know what his title is?
Senior Trade Commissioner.
with the trade commissioner there, so it was exciting. Spirit Slovenia, of course, we're connected with the government of Canada. VSKO, we're very honored to be reconnected or more connected with VSKO. All our events are presented on the radio, so we promote the radio station also through our events, and we encourage everyone to be involved with the VSKO. We are honored in the top right corner of this slide with a lovely certificate of achievement for the Chamber for 30 years of service to the community, and we were very pleased with that. They had that, and then also Minister Jaklic in the bottom right. She was the Minister of Slovenians Abroad. She also brought that lovely accolade certificate for the Chamber. And we had a reception at Bateman McKay at John Doma's offices there. That was our only live event, and you see our chamber there with John and the lovely, very, very prestigious award there. As Simon said too, the Croatian-Canadian Chamber of Commerce has been very active, so we actually tagged in with them to bring wines, in Slovenian wines, into Canada. It was a long battle. I know in the past that they do bring wines from time to time, but we have actually a permanent Central European destination store now in Mississauga, and Slovenia has a section. That's the first time it's ever happened. And we have, I think there's about 8 wines now, and I've got 6 more. We just got the purchase order last week. So very exciting to have Slovenian wines in the country. And now new associations. As Simon has mentioned too, Dr. Chalet is watching us too, and Dr. Chalet has been very instrumental in extending our chamber's reach beyond Canada, beyond Slovenia, and also educating us about the diaspora of Slovenia. I didn't even realize that there's so many Slovenians and descendants in the world. Although Slovenia's population is 2 million, diaspora is 500,000 or more all over the world. So it's exciting to learn more and more about our shared heritage and in the countries that it has evolved into. Anyway, we're involved with some wonderful associations that we do events with, that we work with, we share company information with, and we're very, very proud of everything that we've done, the people that we've met. The other stat is social media. Social media has boomed. The Consul website, we've invested a little bit in it. We've invested a little bit of money, a lot of time, and we're trying to make it, like Bill has said, make it more of a central location where the community and everyone can find out what's going on. It's a place where we hope to bring news, events, and opportunities to our community. So please go and peek at it from time to time to see what's going on. Facebook was updated and it's active with similar stories, similar information as LinkedIn. We've got 642 followers. I was actually shocked at the number. And when we see engagements, we're like plus 300 and something % over last year. So it's very exciting. As hesitant as I am to be on social media, not a very good user. I'm learning, and it's very, very nice. And I think it's good to try to reach out to more generations of Slovenians, and I think social media is the way to do it. As Bill said, he's spearheading the LinkedIn for the chamber, and he's now has more than 400 followers. And as he says, I think the demographic is younger, if I'm not mistaken. Bill, I think you're saying that the demographic that you see.
Yeah, I would say below 40.
Yeah, which is
With
what
with at least half below 20, 25.
Yeah, so that's very encouraging, and also makes us very aware that we have to have some live events and lively events that will have to be planning to get our community going, and the chamber to get bigger and more involved. So we also have a YouTube channel now, so you can see all the events they're posted on our chamber YouTube channel. You just put in Canadian Slovenian Chamber of Commerce into YouTube and it should pop up. And I think right now we have about 6 different, oh no, we have more, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Zoom events that are currently on the channel. So the seminars were presented via Zoom and they've been posted on the channel. It's been very helpful because of the time difference. Of course, we have 6 hours, or in the case of out west, we have a few more hours between us and Slovenia. So that gives an opportunity for people to look at the events later. What we presented in 2021 has been quite interesting. We started with estate planning, tax minimization, investment planning for business with three people from our membership, from our community. It was Mr. John Doma, Tony Klemencic, and Stan Konda. So it was very, very engaging, very lively event. And then we had economic outlook to immunity and beyond with Robert Kaucic. I think you'll recognize Robert's name. He's also in the media, on television, etc. So we were happy to have him as a speaker. Simon and I, with Francis Oy from the Canadian embassy in Budapest. We did doing business with Canada events in Slovenia. So it's a hybrid event with Francis and Simon in Slovenia and me on Zoom. So it was very interesting. That was with business leaders as well as university academics, etc. So it was very, very good to have those touch points with people in the community. We then presented AI and robotics, tech innovation with DDT Labs from Slovenia, and we paired them with the McMaster Innovation Park. So that was a very informative event. That was in April. And then Tim Sesnick, as I said, thank you, Tim. We did a event with tax secrets and revelations. It was very well received, very popular presentation with Tim, of course, who's very well known in Canada and especially in Ontario and now in Slovenia. And of course, again, we did another doing business with Canada. And we were very, very pleased that just this past month, we did a wonderful event with our associates in Brazil with Dr. Chalet and with Mateja Petroshek and Lydia, talking about the organization and talking about the Slow Global platform. They've actually created an interactive Slovenian map of businesses. Right now it's in Brazil, but we will work together and we'll expand that. And of course, they had Canada earmarked for that. So that should be coming up. So what's happening for the second half of 2022? Simon, why don't you take this one?
So we are really lucky to get this grant from Canadian government, Canadian Summer Job. So as Sonia already mentioned, we are hiring a student for the summer. And we are really excited to have her with us. Also, we'll continue the Slovenian community outreach in Canada and in Slovenia, as well as abroad. We will be opening the showroom, and the event will include a seminar and a networking session. This will be one of our first live events. Also, we'll continue with Business Insight events. Event 6, Seat Time Doing Business with Slovenia. So we did a few events in Slovenia on the topic of doing business with Canada, and this one's going to be another way around. And this is part of our beginning of our export training, which will be the basis of our application for Canada Export Grant in the future. Also, we'll do another travel seminar. We'll do another Doing Business with Canada seminar in Slovenia with focus on British Columbia. Also, we'll do a few other events in Slovenia, such as focus to CETA and Doing Business with Canada. Also, we'll have another visit of High Trade Commissioner of Canada in Slovenia. We are planning for 3 to 4 of his visits per year, and a few events with different sectors in Slovenia. 2 already happened, and we facilitated that, and we have 2 more happening. We'll continue with the Chamber Chat series, introduction of members and networking. Also, for October, we're planning an investment conference with stakeholders from both Slovenia and Canada. Business Inside, Doing Business with Slovenia will follow again in the fall. And we have another event scheduled for November with Incubator Vrelec in Rogaška Slatina about CETA and doing business with Canada. The thing with the business incubator Vrelec is already traditional with us. We started in 2016, and last year we picked up on that, and they want to continue doing this as a regular thing every November. And at the end of the year, we'll have a regular banquet. And another bigger event on strategic planning and ensuring sustainability for our members as well as the board. So, Sonia, please go ahead.
Thank you, Simon. So you can see we've been very busy, and we will continue to be busy. Not only busy, but I think we've been strategic. I think we've been very helpful with our partners, and we look forward to working with more and more companies in the coming months and years. So now I would like to introduce Margaret. She doesn't want me to call her Dr. Rudolph. Margaret will be presenting Slovenians across Canada, but in particular, of course, BC. So if you'd like to share your presentation, Margaret.
There we go. So here's my presentation, and is it showing well, by the way?
Would you like me to do that?
No, I think we're good. So the overview is to talk quickly about the BC trade economic environment, what's of interest, my personal priorities here. And again, I welcome both His Excellency and Simon to jump in. When I'm talking about priorities, I'm talking about Ambassador Rody's recent visit. And I'll conclude with our challenges and opportunities here in our marketplace. Well, BC is quite a different market economy from the rest of Canada. Geographically and economically, we're almost closer to the north-south axis, let's say Vancouver to Los Angeles, even in terms of geography and climate. However, BC has been very proactive. Overall, there are 15 ratified trade agreements that cover 49 countries. Certainly the most important for us is CETA. And recently we've enacted the New West Partnership Trade Agreement, and it encompasses BC, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and Alberta. I know we're going to be identifying an honorary consul in Calgary, so it might be interesting in the future to see where we could exchange markets like, for example, wine, because in Canada it's very hard to, as we all know, to transport wine across provinces. But that's an idea that we could investigate in time. And certainly with a free trade agreement, and as I mentioned, the north-south axis, we've got opportunity for exploring partnerships with Slovenia. And the key advantages and business sectors that we have are aerospace, the agriculture, food, beverage, and so forth. You can all read the slide. I won't read it for you, but I'd like to focus on opportunities for Slovenia. And I think it would be clean technology, digital and AI, and I'm looking at digital media. And I know in Ljubljana, there is an AI center of expertise. And at our meeting with our senior consuls general, we identified that as a possible opportunity in future to explore. Certainly forestry and wood products. And I know Simon asked me questions regarding that sector, and we could investigate that further. IT, and of course, mining. We are natural resource-based economy. My personal priorities, it's to profile Slovenia and to identify it as a key EU player, strategically located, a growing economy, a young, well-educated workforce. And we're getting there. More and more people are coming to me to ask about tourism, about cycling, about studying in Slovenia. And I'm noticing a huge uptake in interest in Slovenia. And I'm quite proactive with our consular course. So, and I'm not shy, so I'm part of our working group. So I have a good network of senior consuls, career consuls here, for example, France, Italy, Germany, Ireland, Portugal, and so on. So what's important is, as an honorary, is to partner with these consuls, identify opportunities. I'm seeing a lot of interest in culture, as I mentioned, tourism, and certainly technology. And as we welcome Katya, I'm looking at academia, looking at opportunities at UBC, McGill, and maybe McMaster. We'll see how it evolves with time. And the challenges here are certainly, as an honorary, with zero budget, zero staff, and that's fine, I knew that. But it's to see what we can accomplish, again, in partnership. And developing a nice working relationship. And I do have that with UBC. Getting senior attention, it's nice to have ideas and propose them, but it's to move from the stage of ideas into actual fruition. So it's to work closely with the embassy, certainly with Simon. Blaj was very helpful. He's always very helpful, and His Excellency, to see what we could work on and make it happen. I'm focusing on this slide because for me to be successful, I have to be very well connected by the community, the Slovenian, Vancouver Slovenian community. It is an aging population, as I mentioned, and with His Excellency here, we recognize the important contribution of the president of the Vancouver Slovenian Society here, who's Mr. Jože Herceg. So the key to succeeding in anything here for me is to work with the community and for the community, which is why the slide for me is very important. And I'll talk a little bit about Ambassador Rody's visit. It was quite intensive. Sadly, the ambassador came quite late in the morning. So I guess officially we started on the Friday, the 17th. He came late because there was a long delay with his flight. So I think we were pushing very hard on that Friday, but we met with key consuls general in the morning. And the meeting, important to note, was hosted by the EU-Canada West Chamber of Commerce. And that is a big partner of mine. They offered me wonderful facilities, boardroom, again in partnership, zero cost to me. And of course, Sonia and Simon were invited to participate in the meeting. And it was the first time Ambassador Rody got to meet my colleagues, and I see myself as an equal, and they treat me as an equal. and to talk about how to enter the market and what are the challenges and how to be successful. So that was our day in the morning. And then we also met with senior officials from the Canadian government. So we have a good connection there. And by the way, there is a former Consul General who has been hired by the government of BC to represent British Columbia in London, England. His name is Rupert Potter. So once we have something serious to work with, Simon, we could work with Rupert in London through our officials here. They have pledged to be helpful and supportive in our efforts. And my personal joy is the relationship with the Museum of Anthropology. And I must thank our former Minister for Slovenians Abroad, Mr. Goraz, always have trouble with the name, Goraz Žmauc, who kindly supported the donation of a current to our museum, which really opened up the door for a wonderful relationship. And of course, our previous ambassador, Marian Sensen, was key in making this all happen. And we concluded our visit with the ambassador, A Flavor Vancouver. And I think Ambassador Rody got a sense of how different we are here, how special, how very environmentally focused we are. So here's my little pride and joy, the current. Last year, the embassy, and I believe Blaž was instrumental, was able to donate a second artifact, which is the Rusina, which is the goat head on the right. And as you know, museums generally hide 95% of their artifacts in the basement. So I managed to get this on permanent display. So this major artifact is on permanent display at the Museum of Anthropology. And what's very interesting is last year, Slovenia was the president of the EU Council. And because it was COVID, I couldn't really have any festivities or any events, but I did do a virtual together with the Portuguese who passed their presidency to Slovenia. And we thought of having a video taken at the museum to show our partnership and the richness of our cultural world. And here is the highlight picture of our major event when we got the current a few years ago. There were over 150 people that attended, and I had to borrow and beg for elements of the Slovenian national Narodna noša. So I got a lovely headdress and a lovely scarf, and we were able to do a fantastic presentation. We had Minister Žmauc, Aleksandra Pivić was there as the Secretary General, and Zvona Žigon was there, Ambassador Sensen, and the community really pitched in, and we had the choir, we had singing, we had dancing, and it was absolutely fantastic. And I will conclude with a big thank you. Statehood Day, as I said, we're a small community, but we had a gathering at City Hall on Saturday to honor Slovenia. And I'm very pleased to be in this role. My priorities in the next couple of months are to encourage the EU-Canada West Chamber of Commerce to join as a partner with the CSCC, and also Invest Vancouver, which is an important organization, and it combines all the municipalities in the Vancouver area, excluding Surrey, which is already a partner with the CSCC, and have them join as partners with the Canadian Slovenian Chamber of Commerce. My immediate priority, and this will interest us on a national level, is that Whistler is hosting the World Nordic Juniors Championships in January 23. Our team actually trains in Planica, Slovenia. This is the Canadian junior team is training in Slovenia. And I understand that the following year in 24, it is Slovenia who will be hosting World Junior Championships. So here's a call out to all of us to look at this as an opportunity to present maybe even the chamber, have a kiosk, certainly talk about Slovenia. And again, Simon, food for thought to see if we could highlight companies or food products or whatever you think is possible at that event. It'll be a big deal. So I'll conclude to say that I'm delighted to help out, and I'm always open for ideas and suggestions, and I'm honored to be part of the board. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Margaret. Thank you for your presentation and the great work that you're doing out in BC, and we look forward to working together. So if you could just end your share.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Margaret. Now I'm going to go to Bill. I don't know if I need to, do I need to share the screen? I could. The board of directors portion of our agenda.
Okay. So as you all know, it's the annual general meeting. Last year, since we started up our first year, we did appoint directors. We've asked them this year if they want to stay on, and they've all accepted their nominations. We do have one additional nomination that came up. Margaret, do you have a nomination? I think you were nominating.
Yes, I would like to nominate Katja Martz. I think she would be an extraordinary addition with her connection to McGill. As an engineer and connected to the science world, I think she'd be a wonderful addition, and with her connections and certainly very strong Slovenian background. Govoriš po slovensko, Katja, te dobro poznam. And I would like to welcome her.
Katja, do you accept the nomination?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Welcome to the board. We look forward to working with you, and we still have some open spots. So if any members up there do want to nominate somebody, please reach out to myself or Sonia, and we'll be glad to take a look at it. So next board meeting, we will be electing a president, vice president, treasurer, and then that will be updated to our membership list. As far as elections, that's where we conclude the elections portion of the AGM. Sonia, anything else?
No, that's good. Thank you, Bill. Yeah, in July we'll have a meeting, and we can publish the results. And welcome, Katja. We're very, very happy to have you join us, and hope you'll have a good experience too. Dobrodošli. Now I'm going to. I'd like to open the forum. I will. Whoops. Figure this out by the end of the presentation. Let me open up the gallery. If anyone has any questions, comments, please share them. We're happy that we've gathered the members tonight and associates. Anyone else have anything to add?
I have a question for Bogdan if he's there.
Yes, he is. Dr. Chalet. I think he's there. Just on, if you could take, yeah.
Please.
What kind of community or yeah, basically community is still in Brazil over there? What do you guys have?
Just a moment.
What
do you mean? How many people are in Brazil, or
yeah, how many people? If there's like cultural groups, or is that a candle? Things that are what kind of communities, basically Slovenian communities in Brazil?
Well, sorry, could you repeat? I am for 6 hours in dark. So you can
Oh.
see when we candles.
Oh,
Okay.
are you in Brazil, Dr. Chalet?
Yes, no, I'm not. I just came back from Slovenia, and then I'm going to California next week.
I know,
So,
jet setter. Millie, actually, I'm going to get you the link to a presentation that we did with Brazil, give you lots of insight. But Dr. Chalet, if you could give Millie maybe a short summary of Slovenians in Brazil. How many and how big is the community there? How are they connected with each other? Are you able to in the dark?
So first of all, congratulations to John Doma, to you, and to all the board. I'm even in darkness. I'm assisting you, and I'm really very, very, very proud of you. And very happy. You are a case that we want to present all around the world. Also, I want to congratulate the ambassador there. And also Mr. Simon, how the Slovenian Chamber of Commerce work in the country, but are globally involved. So thank you very much and congratulations. And I think for sure we have a lot of things to do to work in the future, especially because the Canada is important world trade partner all around. Not only in South America, not only Europe, and we have to enjoy much more the trade agreement that you have with the European Union. And don't forget that we have also the distinguished ambassador of European Union, which is a Slovenian, and can help very much. And by the way, she was the lady who introduced us 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago. So going back, I didn't follow the question of the lady. Could you repeat it, please?
Millie,
I
would
was
you
just-
like to?
Yeah, I was just curious on what the community is like in Brazil. If there is like a Slovenian group there, or how do you guys keep as a community?
Okay, first of all, I was born in Slovenia and came to Brazil exactly 62 years ago, with the age at that time 16 years. And so besides that, I later on used to live all around the 10 different countries, study, working, business, and so on. But the first Slovenian come to Brazil over 120 years ago. So this is the community which is, they come basically from the region from Primorska, as Italian, or some of one as Austrian, before the First World War, between two wars, and later on. The community nowadays is about 6,000 or more people, basically in São Paulo, Rio de Janeiro, Minas Gerais, and very strong in all business activities. We have also an academy. We have over 15 Slovenian full professors in Brazilian universities. The very interesting part of the Slovenian history here are the Catholic priest involvement in social life and social, what we call nowadays social responsibility, but social work for Brazilians, but outstanding. So the community is very active in business, and I think that we have something that I kindly recommend you, if you allow me, the map of Slovenian business in Brazil, which means all the Slovenian companies that owned by the Slovenians, which products and service you're offering you, for instance, and also the product for Slovenia. So we have the Slovenian Chamber of Commerce, and we have the Slovenian Society. We have worked together, and the both are very active, one in the cultural life and teaching Slovenian language and so on, another one in the business. The community one of the most important part. This is the community which were, I think, with means to be Slovenian in Brazil means to be responsible citizen, building the country and enjoy the development of the country. The Slovenes here, we have no the problems to be recognized as Dr. Rudolph mentioned, Slovakia, Slovenia, in Brazil, nobody, everybody knows exactly who are Slovenes and who others. I will not mention the others, the Slovakian or Croatian, but we are Slovenes. So.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Bogdan. Yeah, Millie, we just did a event with Dr. Chalet, and I'll send you the link because it'll give you a lot of information, and it's interesting to hear what the work that they're doing in Brazil. And they're closely connected. I think, Dr. Chalet, you're closely connected with Argentina as well. So we have some. Well, Argentina is, I don't know what the population of Slovenians in Argentina is. I imagine it's even bigger than Brazil. And I can talk on their behalf because Dr. Chalet's in the dark and it could be totally wrong. But anyway, any other comments or questions of each other or of the chamber? No, with that, I guess we're getting.
Yeah, I would like to share an anecdote. I told it to some of you know it already, but since I started this role as the new trade commissioner, the embassy, I've been in contact with many different organizations and people. It's been really interesting getting to know how things work. Anyways, one of the representatives of one of the bigger EU organization in Canada was just telling me about the European Chamber of Commerce in Canada, about organization, about the different difficulties it's facing, challenges, the upsides, the downsides. Then she said, but you know, we are really lucky to besides all the challenges, we are lucky to have this one person in our organization that is so dedicated to keep it going. And it's one of the very few people that has a vision. And I don't know if you know him, his name is John Doma, and he's our treasurer. So yes, word is getting around, and just wanted to mention that as an anecdote. I was like, wow, it's great to hear. So.
Great. Yep. Please, actually, with that, please, we encourage and we ask that all our members, whether you're a member, whether you're a director, an associate, keep involved with our community, reach out to each other, network, and just be involved. And the number one thing for our success is relationships, is communication. So keep it up. And thank you very much for coming tonight. I really appreciate it. I will be editing this, all the parts where I went on mute and did something wrong. And hope you had a nice evening and it was interested in the things that we shared tonight. Thank you, and good night, everyone. Na svidanje, lahko noč. Bye-bye. And welcome, Katya, and welcome, Angie.
Hvala. Na svidanje.
Na svidanje.
Adio.
Adio. Good night. Good night. Farewell. Thank you. Goodbye. Thank you, Vera, for joining us. Early or late, I'm happy you're here.
My apologies. Thanks,
problem.
Sonia. Thank you.
Life happens.